nobody in that stadium was watching the match. Not really. They were watching the front row of the royal box, where the world #1 sat in silence while the greatest player in tennis history walked straight past her. And the moment it happened, every camera in the building turned away from the court. That image, that single frame of Aryna Sabalenka's face, as Roger Federer chose someone else, traveled across the internet in under 6 hours and shattered 40 million views before midnight. But here's what nobody is telling you. What happened? In that royal box wasn't about tennis at all. It wasn't about ranking. It wasn't about who deserved what. It was about something older, something quieter, something that hits you in the chest when you least expect it. And the moment you understand what Federer actually saw when he looked at that 20-year-old girl from Manila, everything changes. So let's go back. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of this story, because the setup matters more than anyone realizes, and most people who shared that clip didn't see the full picture. The Foro Italico in Rome is not just a tennis venue, it's a cathedral. Marble statues of ancient athletes line the walls of the central court, and when the sun hits the clay in the late afternoon, the whole stadium turns amber. It's the kind of place where history feels like it's watching you, and on this particular afternoon, it was. The Italian Open semifinals were underway. 10,000 people packed into the stands, former champions, European dignitaries, and tennis. Royalty filled the royal box, and sitting near the center of it all was Aryna Sabalenka, the world #1. 4 Grand Slam titles, a game built like a weapon. She had been eliminated in the quarterfinals, which was the first unexpected thing. A player she had never lost to before had taken her out, and the defeat was still fresh, still sitting somewhere behind her eyes. She hadn't gone home, though. She stayed. She told her team she was staying to prepare for Roland Garros, to recalibrate, to watch and learn. And that decision, to stay, meant she had a front row seat to a moment she absolutely did not see coming. Now, before we get to Federer, you need to understand who Alexandra Eala is. Because if you don't know the full story of this girl, then the royal box scene is just a nice moment. But once you understand it, once you truly understand it, it becomes something you can't stop thinking about. Alexandra Eala is 20 years old. She is from the Philippines. And when she arrived at the Italian Open, she didn't just arrive as a tennis player. She arrived as a symbol. 110 million people. That's the population of the Philippines, a country that has never, in its entire tennis history, had a player reach this level. When Eala walks onto a clay court in Europe, she does not walk alone. There are Filipino flags in the stands. There are OFWs, overseas Filipino workers, people who flew in from Dubai and London and Los Angeles and Singapore, people who took days off work and spent money they carefully saved just to hold up a flag and scream "Laban Alex," which means "fight Alex," until their voices gave out. And she fights. That's the thing. She doesn't just play tennis, she fights every single point. Like it's the last one of her life. And something about watching her do it makes people feel like their own pain is worth something. That's not a skill you can coach. That's not something you develop in a training block. That's either in you or it isn't. And for Eala, it is completely, undeniably in her. But the Italian Open didn't go the way anyone wanted. A grade 2 ankle, sprain, 3rd round, tournament over. Not just the Italian Open, Roland Garros too. The French Open, the clay court Grand Slam, the stage she had been building toward, gone. Just like that. She would watch it from a couch, her ankle wrapped, her racket put away. The crowd that had sung for her went quiet. The flags were still in the stands, but there were fewer of them now. The Laban Alex chants faded into the Roman air. And yet, Alexandra Eala did not leave Rome. She stayed too. She showed up to watch. The matches. Injured, heartbroken, ankle in a brace, 20 years old, and she sat in those stands anyway. Now, here is where the timeline starts to matter. Here is where things get strange and beautiful at the same time. Roger Federer was not supposed to be at the Italian Open. That part is important. His public appearances since retiring had become rare, deliberate, carefully chosen. When Federer shows up somewhere, it means something. He doesn't just pass through. He arrives with intention. And on this Roman afternoon, nobody in his camp had announced the visit. He slipped in quietly, the way only the truly famous can, and then stopped being quiet the second he entered the royal box. He walked in and the air in that stadium shifted. People nudged each other. Phones came out. The commentators noticed. And then, before anyone could fully process that Roger Federer was even in the building, he did something that made everyone forget the match entirely. He walked past Aryna Sabalenka. Not quickly, not rudely, he simply walked past her. The might's camera caught it. 1 second, 2 seconds. You can see the exact moment Sabalenka registers that it's Federer. You can see the slight shift in her posture, the almost imperceptible readiness, the way anyone would prepare to be acknowledged by someone they have admired their entire life. He kept walking. He walked toward a 20-year-old girl from Manila, who had lost in the third round and couldn't walk without a limp. He stopped in front of her. And the stadium, 10,000 people, cameras, commentators, all of it, held its breath. What happened next is the part that 40 million people watched. But the part worth understanding is what happened before Federer reached into his jacket. Because in the split second before he pulled out that navy blue box, Aya's face told you everything. She was not expecting to be seen. Not by him, not today, not here. She had come to watch, to sit quietly, to let the tournament move on without her. The body language of someone who has already made peace with being invisible. And then Roger Federer stood in front of her, and she was no longer invisible. The box was navy blue, small, the kind of box that holds something delicate. Aya's hands trembled when she accepted it. She opened it slowly, and inside lay a platinum bracelet, and engraved across it were 5 words. 5 words that hit differently when you hear them in full context. For the fighter who never quits. She didn't hold it together. Nobody would. Have. The tears came fast, the kind you can't catch before they've already given you away. And Federer did something then that nobody quite expected. He didn't hand it to her and step back. He didn't let the moment become a photo opportunity. He reached down, took the bracelet himself, and buckled it onto her wrist. Then he pulled her into a hug. Not a quick hug, not the brief, professional kind you see at trophy ceremonies. A real hug, the kind where both people's shoulders drop at the same time. Aya's arms wrapped around him and she shook quietly, the way people cry when they've been holding it together for too long, and suddenly something cracks. And Federer held on. He leaned close to her ear, and though the microphones couldn't fully capture it, the lip readers and the people close enough to hear confirmed what he said. You remind me of why I started playing tennis. Not for the trophies, for the feeling of making people believe. 20 years old, a sprained ankle, a shattered French Open dream. And Roger Federer, 20 Grand Slams, the most celebrated tennis player in the history of the sport, told her she reminded him of why any of it mattered. Now, go back to Sabalenka, because this is where the story becomes something entirely different from what the internet made it. The cameras found her, face almost immediately. And this is the moment that split the entire tennis world in half, because what people saw in her expression, they couldn't agree on. Some said devastation, some said jealousy, some said wounded pride. But watch the clip slowly. Pause it, really look at it. And what you actually see is more complicated and more human than any of those things. Her jaw is set, her eyes are steady. She watches Federer buckle the bracelet. She watches the hug. She watches Aya cry. And then, for just a moment, Sabalenka looks down at her own hands. That's the frame. That's the image that went everywhere. A world number 1, 4 Grand Slams, one of the most dominant players alive, looking down at her own hands while the greatest player in history honors someone else. Here's what you need to know about Aryna Sabalenka to understand why that image carries so much weight. She did not grow up celebrated. She grew up grinding. She grew up in a sport that didn't always know what to do with the way she played. Powerful, aggressive, emotionally raw, sometimes chaotic. And she fought her way to the top through years of criticism, through mental health struggles she has spoken about publicly, through losses that would have ended careers, through a serve that once completely abandoned her in the middle of a tournament season. She earned every single thing she has, and she has never, not once, had 110 million people waving flags in her name. She has never turned a foreign stadium into a home game. She has never been the symbol of a nation's dream. She has been great, genuinely, historically great. But greatness and that, what Aya has, are two completely different things. Federer didn't walk past Sabalenka because she was lesser. He walked past her because she already had what he was carrying: recognition, validation, history. She had it all. Aya had only herself, her brace, and a crowd that loved her anyway. When the clip spread, the internet predictably turned it into a rivalry. Sabalenka fans rallied. Comments flooded in about how disrespectful it was, how Federer had snubbed the world #1, how Sabalenka deserved better. Aya fans fired back. They said this wasn't a competition, that their hero had been seen by the greatest, and nothing could take that away. Both sides were missing the point, because when Sabalenka finally spoke, and she did speak calmly, clearly, with the kind of directness she has always carried, she didn't say any of what the internet expected her to say. She said this: "Alex deserves it. She's special. Everyone can see it." 4 words at the end of that sentence that land differently than anything else. Everyone can see it. Not Federer can see it. Not I can see it. Everyone. As if it had always been obvious. As if she'd known for a long time that this girl from Manila carried something that couldn't be ranked or seeded or measured in match. Wins. There's a moment earlier in the Italian Open week that almost nobody talked about after the bracelet story broke. And it matters. Sabalenka had watched several of Aya's matches from the player area. Not officially, not with fanfare. Just watching. After Aya's second-round win, which was electric, fans erupting, flags everywhere, Sabalenka reportedly told a member of her team something simple: "She plays like she has nothing to lose." That sentence means something specific when a world #1 says it, because a world #1 has everything to lose in every single match. The weight of the ranking, the expectation, the sponsorships, the legacy, the relentless calculation of what a loss costs you. Aya played free. And Sabalenka, in her quiet, private honesty, recognized what that looked like. What Federer did in that royal box wasn't a slight. It wasn't symbolic cruelty. It was a former champion recognizing something specific and rare in a player who had given everything and walked away with nothing to show for it except a broken ankle and a stadium full of flags. He had been that player once, not in ranking, not in result, but in feeling. He had been the player who made people feel something beyond the scoreboard, who made millions believe that something larger than sport was happening every time he picked up a racket. He looked at Aya and saw the echo of that feeling. You don't plan a moment like that. You either feel it or you don't. Federer felt it, and he walked across a room full of legends to say so. The bracelet now sits on Aya's wrist as she recovers. She has been photographed wearing it in her hotel room at the airport in an Instagram story where she says nothing, just tilts the camera toward the platinum band and lets the engraving catch the light. For the fighter who never quits. 5 words. No qualifier, no asterisk, no conditional on ranking or title or result. Just the fighter who never quits. Sabalenka posted something the day after the royal box footage exploded. A single photo, no caption, no comment on the moment. Just a picture of herself back on the practice court, racket in hand, clay dust rising. The comment section was full of people reading into it, debating it, arguing about what she meant. She probably meant nothing complex at all. She probably just went back to work. The way champions do, the way she has always done, the way no one can ever take from her. But here's the final thought that will sit with you after this video ends. 2 players stayed in Rome when they had every reason to leave. One stayed to heal, one stayed to prepare. Neither of them won the Italian Open. And yet the moment that defined the entire tournament didn't happen on the court. It happened in the front row of a royal box, in the space between a handshake that didn't happen and an embrace that no one expected, and in the face of a world #1 who watched. It all unfolded and chose, instead of resentment, something far harder and far more honest. She chose to see it clearly. And maybe that's the difference between being great and being someone who makes people believe. Maybe you don't get to choose which one you are. Maybe it chooses you. And on a late Roman afternoon, with marble statues watching and 10,000 people holding their breath, a 20-year-old girl from the Philippines found out which one she was, from the only man in the world whose answer truly mattered.